Disrupting Japan, Episode 27. Welcome to Disrupting Japan, straight talk from Japan's most successful entrepreneurs. I'm Tim Romero, and thanks for listening. Traditional sales and marketing strategies are beginning to break down in Japan. For about half a century, sales was done by legions of men in blue suits and white shirts, and marketing was done, well, by densu mostly. But this is changing. Sales and marketing are becoming, at the same time, more distributed, but also more streamlined and cost-effective. Now, some companies are fighting this change, but they're on the losing side of that battle, and most of them know it. Today we sit down with Sunao Munakata, the founder of Innova, and he and his company are at the very heart of this change. We'll talk about the big picture changes, of course, but Sunao also has some very practical advice about what question founders and marketing managers need to ask in order to tell a good content marketing company from a bad one. And he also explains the basics behind a successful content marketing strategy here in Japan. You know, Innova is a fascinating company that almost didn't get started, but I'll let Sunao tell you that story in his own words. So let's get right to the interview. I'm sitting here with Sunao Munakata of Innova, which specializes in marketing automation and content creation. That's a high-level explanation. Why don't you give us a little more details on what you guys do?
Okay. Now, we are helping out companies do the online marketing by providing software which is called marketing automation, and also are helping companies to create content which is relevant for their potential customers. Content marketing is actually becoming a real buzzword these days because people are trying to find information by themselves.
Actually, let's dig down on both of those concepts separately, because marketing automation and content generation are both important. They're both buzzwords,
right,
and they're both very different, really.
Right.
So, marketing automation. It's a lot of things to a lot of people.
Right. Yeah, I personally dislike the word marketing automation because it sounds like a magical tool.
Like a black box, just put a quarter in, it will do your marketing.
Yeah, but actually marketing automation is a tool to do the one-to-one personalized marketing. We are customer to the way Amazon sells, right? You know, they send out recommended emails to individual.
Sure.
Versus Rakuten is sending out kind of spammy emails to everyone.
Well, that is interesting because even the big internet companies in Japan are not very sophisticated in the way they run this. So Rakuten certainly sends a lot of uncustomized emails. GMO is probably the worst offender. Why is that? Is Japan just not aware of these marketing automation and personalization tools? Or have they not been working in Japan?
Well, I think there are two factors here. One is for most e-commerce companies, in order to sell their product, they have to store someplace at Rakuten or Yahoo, and then the system they provide is very limited, right? So you can kind of sort out people by, for example, how many times they bought or what region they live, but it's very limited. You cannot tweak with the purchase history, for example.
Okay.
So one issue comes from the systems related with marketplace. The other is there are email providers, but their marketing is not good enough to convince companies to spend time and money to personalize all these emails, because if you wanted to send 5 different emails, you have to create 5 different versions, right?
Right.
Which is too much work. This is really an issue when you work at Japanese companies. Your performance is measured not by sales you made, but by not making a mistake.
Right.
You just stay the same. You don't want to do something special.
Right.
And
you can only lose points.
Right. So that might be another point, I think.
Okay. But it sounds like you're saying that the marketing automation as a type of technology bridges that gap between it's automated enough that human beings don't have to be involved in so much of the creation. And it will give you that performance increase instead of just sending out standard emails, uncustomized emails.
Right.
Do you think the opinion of marketing automation is changing in Japan now? Let's see, just last year, Marketo, a big American marketing automation company, is coming to Japan. They seem to be making a lot of impact quickly. So do you think Japan is kind of coming around to this idea, this technology?
Yeah, I think it is. It is changing because Marketo and companies like HubSpot, Eloqua, which is sold by Oracle. What's happening is right now is that they are spending so much money to build the awareness of marketing automation and also letting people know kind of success cases of marketing automation.
I guess that kind of raising that kind of awareness is good for everyone in the industry, though, right?
Yeah, that is what is happening right now. Many local Japanese companies started saying that we are providing marketing automation. Email marketing companies wanted to do that, or some B2B small software. So some kind of confusion is happening, but customers are building awareness, and there's a lot of interest.
Let me ask you this then, because of the companies I've run in the past. Marketing, however you do it, is an incredibly important part of corporate survival.
Right.
I'm constantly being approached by companies who claim they are experts in marketing automation, and I'm sure everyone else is too. As a founder, what questions should I ask the marketing automation companies to know that I'm getting good value from them? They really know what they're doing.
Yeah, you should ask what business result you get. Many marketing automation companies wanted to tell about the features, but you don't want features. You want either more revenue or lower cost. So
good companies will be able to align with your needs rather than just giving you a list of activities. That makes sense. With the marketing changing in Japan, do you think, because one of the things I've seen changing in the last 10 years is the whole sales process in Japan, particularly the B2B process seems to be changing.
Interesting, very interesting.
When I first came to Japan, the sales process was sending 4 guys out in navy blue suits to go give a PowerPoint presentation. And there's still a lot of that. But how do you see that changing today? Do you see that as still the main way sales are being made to companies, or do you see it being more web-driven and more inbound?
It is changing, but let me tell you an interesting story. One guy, actually, this woman sending Facebook message saying that I graduated from the same high school with you, and I just joined this business consulting company, and I am in training period right now, so I need to make an appointment with a CEO or management of some companies. And need to do the sales. Can you meet with me? Kind of stuff, right? So I was really kind of upset because we graduated from the same high school, but we've never met before.
Personal networks are very important in Japan. But that's kind of pushing it,
But I think it over and I try this. Okay, I meet you, but give me 30 minutes and I do the sales as well. You do the sales and I do the sales. So that's fair deal. So I set up a meeting.
I don't know if that's fair. I think you're a better salesman than her.
So she, talked with the boss and, had a meeting with the head of sales kind of guy. And actually, he's a ex-recruit.
For our overseas listener, that is by far the largest recruiting agency in Japan.
Recruiting agencies and notoriously very famous for strong field sales force, right? And he actually explained their service. And then 30 minutes passed, and then I do the sales, right? So you are in charge of sales and, doing this outbound sales. And haven't you seen the kind of difficulties to make an appointment these years and kind of stuff? He said, yes. Actually, people are hating to make an appointment with sales. So before, like 5 years ago, or I don't know, 7 years ago, you only have to do 50 calls to get one appointment.
Yeah.
But right now, you have to do 100 calls or 200 calls to get one appointment because people hate. If they are the CEO, assistant wanted to block you, right?
Right. Well, I think the biggest thing that's changed in that is 15 years ago, say, you needed to talk to the salesman to get information.
Right.
Now you can go on the internet.
Right.
And you can get the information, you can get the price. You don't really need the salesman anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what is happening. So I basically ring the bell with this guy, and he's very much interested in.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's in charge of not only the sales, but also the strategic planning. Although he's very confident with the sales capabilities, he also had the sense that he cannot keep on doing this for another 5-10 years. He wanted to change how sales are doing. And I also invited him to join the seminar we have every week. So
I love sales calls like that. This is awesome. So did Recruit become one of your customers?
Not yet. No.
Still working on it. Okay.
Still working on it.
But Recruit really is, they're still sending the guys out in the navy blue suits. They're doing it the old way. Mm-hmm. You do see it changing too then, huh?
Changing. Can I give you another interesting
Please.
example? This is about a company with the revenue about 200 million, located in Osaka, western part of Japan. They are the manufacturing companies who create a factory plant which let you filterize salted water into purified water.
Right.
They happen to find my books, which is published last December, and that's about content marketing. Typically, old-fashioned Japanese companies don't even have the function of marketing. They are the unit of engineering team, which basically create the product, right? They have sales, but there's no marketing. That is very often the case.
Traditionally, how does a company like that bring a product to market and raise awareness?
You have a history of the company like 20, 30, or even 50 years, and then you have existing customers. Also, typically, some Japanese companies are creating keiretsu,
corporate groups.
Corporate groups.
Right.
If you are focusing on some niche, you don't want to spend money on distribution or marketing. You really wanted to spend money on R&D.
That's a really good point. And traditionally, I'd say right up until the 80s, really, most of the time, other members of the corporate group would take care of marketing,
right,
and a lot of sales too for these individual companies. Right. And that's really broken down now, hasn't it?
Yeah. And I see the big event, the Nissan famous CEO Carlos Ghosn took the CEO position of Nissan,
right?
And he literally broken down, announced that keiretsu rating will be reduced by like 80%, and then all keiretsu companies need to live by themselves.
Yep.
So that was announced.
He just completely changed the supply chain entirely.
Right.
Although it's the result of that though was he didn't so much change the supply chain. It was mostly the same companies. They just changed the way they did business. That was astounding. It was the same companies before and after, but so much more efficient.
Right. Yeah, that is one of my companies, also a famous big Japanese company. One of the subsidiary who used to sell their product to parent company. Now they are getting the pressure to sell their product by themselves, without knowing how to do marketing, how to do sales.
What sounds like a wonderful time to be in the marketing business.
Wonderful time.
Continuing this idea of how marketing and sales is changing, do you see Japanese businesses buying more online as well?
Yeah, they are. Actually, there are some companies who are doing great on B2B e-commerce, like ASCO is the one,
Sure, office supply.
The other is Monotaro. Monotaro is kind of tool, hardware. So those are companies doing really great.
Okay, great. Let's talk a bit about content creation and the cloud CMO platform. So content creation is another buzzword that means so many different things. So what is Cloud CMO?
Cloud CMO is actually CMS, which lets you create a website where you can publish your content. It has a built-in capability of marketing automation. So you can analyze the visitors and also you can send out emails.
So the platform allows you to customize website content and email content and also outsource the creation of that content. Is Cloud CMO a standalone platform, or is that something that customers usually use as part of an engagement with Innova?
Right now, we are doing a lot of professional service because market is still early phase and trying to understand how to create content strategy and how to create content and how to measure the result. So we have 10 consultants basically which helps companies to...
The writers on Cloud CMO are creating emails, obviously, blog posts, Facebook posts, Instagram, reviews. What else do they? Will they go and create comments and blogs and things? What kind of content do they create?
Mostly we create blog articles.
Okay.
The reason is, blog article is the most cost-effective way to attract website visitors. A blog is SEO friendly, right?
Right.
And then second is it's much cheaper than creating, video or infographics.
Sure.
Almost 90% of our business is blog writing. The another 10% is Instagram. Instagram is getting traction. We are not doing any review writing or blog commenting because it's kind of for the company, they wanted to create good reviews or good blog comments, which is not really good things to do.
Right, it is a gray area.
Yeah, gray. And then we had some issue with the called stealth marketing, right?
So blog posts, Facebook, social media in general. Okay, excellent. Actually, a different topic. Before starting Innova, you worked at Rakuten. Now, I've noticed an awful lot of the current generation of startup founders have worked at Rakuten at one point or another.
Oh yeah.
Why is that? Is there just an awful lot of people coming through Rakuten, or does that company somehow encourage entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I think the former is the case. Rakuten is growing like this, and then I joined the Rakuten 2008, which is the time they are hiring a bunch of ex-consultants, MBAs. I joined Rakuten and spent some time. Rakuten business model is really interesting, very solid and well managed. But it's a big corporation for me. Much better than the one I worked for, like Fujitsu.
That's right.
But,
actually, I used to work at Fujitsu.
Really?
Yeah, my first job in Japan was at Fujitsu.
Which part?
It was FDL. But that was back in 1988.
Really?
Yeah.
1988.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fujitsu and Japan were very different back in that day. Those days. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I was. Anyway, Rakuten is a great place to spend some time. It's like I don't know. It's like a Google because Google is already too big.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of budget. A lot of great product, a lot of great people, but it's not the place where entrepreneurial people work.
Right.
So I think the Rakuten is the same.
When you made that move from Rakuten to branching out on your own, were your family and friends supportive of that? Or did they try to say, no, stay at Rakuten, it's a great company, you've got a great future there?
Yeah, they are supportive, but I took the gradual move, right? First, I didn't start my own company fresh after Rakuten. I moved to a smaller company. The number of people is about 4, and then increased like 10. After spending 1.5 years there, I could get 30 days paid vacation. So I told my wife that I might change my jobs. I may take another position at different company, or I may start a company let me try this for 30 days
Okay.
with the paid holidays.
So what
right?
you did on your vacation, you started a company on your vacation.
Right, and then I spent 30 days and then still not making any money, but I did a lot of networking and I also helped out a lot of startup events. And my wife is wondering, well, my husband is spending some time and meeting a lot of people. Although it is 30 days is over, let me do a little more and see how he can do. She gave me another 30 days.
Extension?
6 days, yeah. and then luckily one of my ex employees gave me some contractor positions that could be revenue. Half of my business is contractor, half of my time is doing the startup. So
Okay.
that was a good luck.
That's a great way to get started.
Yeah.
So what made you focus on marketing?
Yeah, that was interesting. Before I started my company, I created a credit card which I can borrow 5 million Japanese yen.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
That was save money for me. I spent almost 1.5 years trying one idea and another and not really making any business yet. I was withdrawing some money from the credit card.
Yeah.
And my credit card limit is kind of hitting the limit. And I was discussing with one of my friends, what should I do? I'm spend 1.5 years and then my credit card is almost
at the max.
almost the max. And then she told me that you are talking about marketing all the time, and especially content marketing. Maybe you really like content marketing. Why don't you try that? So I was thinking back. Her comment is actually a liberation for me because I was thinking content marketing as a way of customer acquisition for my business,
Right.
but not thinking about helping people, companies, to do the marketing with content.
So it took someone else to kind of point it out to you that, hey, you like this, don't you?
And then another interesting coincidence is that I wrote an MBA essay year 2006, and I was writing my long-term career goal, saying that I want to build an agency, marketing agencies, to help out SME companies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, after graduation. So
awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of, deep inside my motivation.
What was the biggest challenge you faced in making that transition? Was it strictly financial?
Mm-hmm.
Was it getting those first customers?
Getting fast engineer, I think, because I spent another half a year trying to find an engineer. I could find CEO very easily, but CTO was very difficult. Fujimoto-san, the guy you met, he had the same issue, and he decided to do the coding himself.
He learned to code. He was on the podcast a couple months ago.
Right. I tried to do the same, but luckily I met this guy, and he is very unique engineer because he really loves marketing. He majored in marketing in college, and then he got an MBA with marketing, although he's a full-time engineer, right?
Huh. Yeah, I think that does make sense. I mean, finding the right team, whether you're an engineer finding the right sales and marketing people or sales and marketing finding technical support, that's really critical. What did you have to change about yourself when you moved from working at a big company to running your own startup?
I'm becoming myself. I was working at Fujitsu Rakuten. I was acting a role. I wanted to be the good employee.
Yeah. So you knew what was expected of you.
Yeah. There are some stuff I want to say or I want to change something, but usually I accept the way it is. But now I want to change this or I want to create this. That's the stuff I can actually say, and people love it. I'm really enjoying it.
Excellent.
I feel more fun.
I think most people, once they make that jump, and it is more fun. Well, that's not fair, because there is definitely some times that was not fun between then and now.
Sure.
Earlier, we were talking about how to encourage more younger Japanese to start companies. If you could change one thing about Japanese society or education or anything. If I gave you a magic wand and said you can change anything to make it better for Japanese startups, what would you change?
I would change the job market. I would terminate lifetime employment.
Ah, okay.
I don't know how, but
well, it's slowly going away.
Yeah, slowly going away. But for me, job market is the biggest hurdle for Japanese companies to change. My last company was in social media marketing.
Right.
I met a lot of US startups and a lot of business professionals who are in charge of social media. What I found out, this guy who used to work at Ford, he actually changed the position within 6 months to Citibank, right?
Right.
Because he get so much experience, so much insights at Ford, and he moved the position with better title or better compensation. And with that, companies are getting best talented people. Or
do you think that the problem is so much that the Japanese companies don't have access to the best people, or is the flip side of that employees there's no motivation to really improve, to get a better job, or both of these things?
Yeah, there's two sides of the story. One is, no access to the best people, right? The other is lack of the motivation to try out the new stuff. If you can get better position at companies like Citi,
right,
you have the incentive to try out new social media marketing at Ford. You may hit the jackpot, you may not, but anyway, you will try.
Yeah, it gives everyone an incentive to be more innovative and take risks. That makes a whole lot of sense.
Right.
Excellent. So I wanted to ask you, before we were talking about inbound versus outbound marketing. So Japan seems to have a very different view of outbound marketing and email marketing than the US does.
Right.
You cannot buy mailing lists in Japan.
Right.
Japanese consumers are much less tolerant of companies sending an email than American consumers are. How do you address that? How do you do an effective outbound marketing campaign when people are so sensitive to marketing email?
You cannot change consumers. Consumers is kinda.
They are the way they are.
They are the way they are. So, one, you have to understand the preference, how they wanted to receive information. Some people wanted to get information from email. The others get mailing, and the others might wanted to visit stores. Basically, what you can do is, tailoring what information channel you use,
right,
and also customizing the content. If your information is customized and very specific to the person's need, then you can get through the
So
product.
if it feels more personal, it's more acceptable, and the non-customized emails are more likely to be rejected by Japanese consumers.
Yeah.
I see. You've mentioned before that Japanese internet users don't share content as often or as quickly as Americans do. Why do you think that is, and how does that affect a content marketing strategy?
This is another anecdote. One of my friends is staying at Myanmar. He said, if you publish a blog post there, you get 1,000 likes on a day.
Friendly country.
Friendly country. But Japan is obviously not. You might get 5 likes or 10 likes. So in Japan, if you are doing content marketing strategy, SEO is more important factor, right?
Okay.
Because you cannot get as much traffic from social channel. You need more traffic from search engines.
From search engines. Excellent. Well, listen, I don't know how I'm ever going to edit this down to 30 minutes. But before we wrap up, is there anything you want to tell our listeners about content marketing or about sales and marketing in Japan or anything at all?
Yeah, I'm really passionate about content marketing because content marketing is the value of internet. With the internet, you can actually have no boundaries. You can do business with people in US or people in Europe, people in Africa. For me, by letting people to do content marketing, publishing information, and letting people on the planet to know that you are there, you are doing business like this, and you get more chance to do business with everyone on the planet. So that's
it's truly global.
Yeah,
it's truly
global.
Going global.
Going global. You see, Apple is using this shiny case.
So the shiny iPhone body.
iPhone or iPod. And this technology is from northern part of Japan. Small manufacturing facilities. Apple is so good enough to find out these small companies. But if they have content marketing, other companies know, wow, this technology is really great. This is so smooth and so shiny. And
so it's become the opposite of the keiretsu.
Yeah.
Not only are you not relying on these very closely held associate companies, but now everybody's got this global reach.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that kind of the world I want to create,
Awesome. Excellent. Thanks so much for sitting down with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I enjoyed it a lot.
And we're back. I think Sunao is spot on when he talked about how both marketing is changing in Japan and the forces behind it. As he explained, until very recently, because of the tight corporate groups, many companies weren't really responsible for their own marketing and sales. But over the past 20 years, those corporate groups have been slowly dissolving, and now the ties that bind them together are very weak indeed. So now stories of established mid-sized companies who suddenly found themselves lost when they had to start taking responsibility for their own sales and marketing really drove the point home. I mean, such a situation is almost inconceivable in the West. And his point about how lifetime employment is killing innovation in Japan is something I'd never considered, but it makes a lot of sense. After all, competition makes us all try harder. So where's all this change leading? Well, my own crystal ball is a little foggy, but I can tell you it'll be a change for the better. Marketing automation and content marketing really levels the playing field for smaller, innovative Japanese companies. And that's one of the core requirements for disrupting Japan. If you've got a marketing automation story, either a success story or a horror story, we'd love to hear it. So come by disruptingjapan.com/show027 and let us know what you think. And when you drop by, you'll find all the links and sites that Sunao and I talked about and much, much more in the resources section of the post. But most of all, thanks for listening. And thank you for letting people interested in Japanese startups know about the show. I'm Tim Romero, and thanks for listening to Disrupting Japan.